happiness is you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Here come bad news, talking this and that. Well, give me all you got and don't hold it back. Well, I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine. No offense to you, don't waste your time. Here's why. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Hey, go. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. The love is too high to bring me down. Can't none bring me down. I said, bring me down, can't none bring me down. The love is too high to bring me down. Can't none bring me down. I said, because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Hey, go. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. The love is too high to bring me down. Can't none bring me down. I said, because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Hey, hey, hey. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Hey, hey. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Come on.
I got this feeling inside my bones. It goes electric wavy when I turn it on. All through my city, all through my home. We're flying up, no ceiling when we in our zone. I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off of it, moving so phenomenally. You're more like the way we rock it, so don't stop. And under the lights, when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well, you already know. So just imagine. Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel good, good creeping up on you. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. All those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. I can't stop the feeling. So just dance, dance, dance. I can't stop the feeling. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. Ooh, it's something magical. It's in the air, it's in my blood, it's rushing on. I don't need no reason, don't need control. I fly so high, no ceiling when I'm in my zone. Cause I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off of it. Moving so phenomenally. You're more like the way we rock it. So don't stop, stop, stop. Under the lights when everything goes. Nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well, you already know. So just imagine. Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel the good, good creeping up on you. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. All those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. I can't stop the feeling. So just dance, dance, dance. So just dance, dance, dance. Stop the feeling. So just dance, dance, dance. I can't stop the feeling. Yeah. So keep dancing. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. I can't stop the. 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 Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel the good, good creeping up on you. So just dance, dance, dance. All those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. Everybody say. I can't stop the feeling. Oh, no, I can't stop the feeling. I can't stop the feeling in my body. Break it down. Got this feeling in my body. Can't stop the feeling. Got this feeling in my body. Ooh.
I had a dream so big and loud. I jumped so high, I touched the clouds. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. I stretched my hands out to the sky. We danced with monsters through the night. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. I'm never gonna look back. Whoa, I'm never gonna give it up. No, please don't wake me now. 2, 3, 4. This is gonna be the best day of my life. My life. This is gonna be the best day of my life. My life. I howled at the moon with friends, and then the sun came crashing in. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. But all the possibilities, no limits, just epiphanies. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. I'm never gonna look back. Whoa, I'm never gonna give it up. No, just don't wake me now. Woo! This is gonna be the best day of my life. My life. This is gonna be the best day of my life. My life. I hear it calling outside my window. I feel it in my soul. My soul. The stars were burning so bright. The sun was out till midnight. I say we lose control. This is gonna be the best day of my life. My life. This is gonna be the best day of my life.
Morning, everyone. We're still letting people into the waiting room, so just give us one more minute to make sure everybody gets in. We have a record number this morning, which is super exciting. We're really excited you all are here, and thank you for taking time out of your busy day right before the holiday season to join us. We have a packed agenda with lots of really great, exciting information that we're looking forward to sharing with you all. We have some great training opportunities to come. And then one of our partners with Lakeshore Learning is here to give you all some exciting things to show on their procurement site. So we're going to get started in just about 60 seconds or so once we let the remaining people into the chat. So bear with us. So we have officially hit 200 people, which is super exciting. Thank you all so much. That just really makes sure that it just really ups our game for us to make sure we're giving you all quality information and quality resources to take up with your time. And we really appreciate everybody being here. Before we get started, just a couple housekeeping things. We really love to see your faces. So if you're on video, we're thankful for that. We also know that you all are busy, and if you need to multitask, that's perfectly okay. We're just glad you all are here. While we're presenting, if you all think of questions as they come up, please feel free to drop them in the chat. And at the end, we'll go back and we'll go through the chat and make sure all the questions get answered or addressed. So just drop them in the chat as you think of them. There'll also be a time at the end to come off of mute if you'd rather do it that way, whatever is easier. But also throughout the conversation and throughout the discussion, feel free to use those reaction buttons at the bottom of your screen to let people know if you're excited about something, or if you're curious about something else. Let people spread that love, let people know. Feel free to use those buttons, feel free to use the chat throughout. Like I said, it will be monitored by our staff, and we will get to everything that is in there. And we're really excited for you all to join us. So we're going to jump into the agenda so you guys can kind of know what to expect today. So we're going to I'm going to give you all some updates because it's been a while since we've been together. Just kind of some things that are going on in our office, what's to come. We're going to let Amy Neal, Executive Director, if she's able to join us, she's going to give a quick report on some things we've been doing here at the office. It's really exciting. Our partner with Compass Evaluation, Sarah Heineminer, is also with us, and she's going to be helping me present. And we're going to go over the results from the self-assessment that you all did about a month ago. And we're going to go over what we found and how we're going to use that information to better future webinars, to better future trainings. And we just want you guys to know that everything you all do send us, we do look at, we review, we analyze, and we really use it to benefit us and you all. So we really appreciate you all taking the time to do that and to getting together as a collaboration to do that. And then today our webinar focuses on data and reporting quality and data issues. And so Sarah is going to talk about some training moments with some logic modeling on how to ensure that you're getting the best data you can, issues that are arising, and things that we plan to do to help you with that. And then we have a partner spotlight. As I mentioned, Alex Page is here with Lakeshore Learning. They are a very valuable partner for us. We love working with them. They are usually at every single early childhood institute, providing tons of giveaways for you all. They've played a big part in our apprenticeship program, and we're just really happy to have them here with us today. And Alex is going to walk you all through their procurement site, because there is a certain login that each regional collaborative gets, and some incentives that you all receive as being a part of the regional collaborative when you order from their website. And so we'll finish up with questions and discussion, and then just some upcoming events and things like that. So we are still letting people in, which is super exciting, but we're going to jump on in because I know that time is of the essence for you all. So it's been a busy time of the year here for us at the Kentucky Governor's Office of Early Childhood. And so we just wanted to take a few minutes to provide some quick updates and information before we jump into the webinar portion of it. Just a reminder that your first quarterly report was due on November 15th. If you have not yet submitted that, please do so. Remember, we updated the forms that we are using. Those were emailed out. If you need those again, just shoot me an email or put it in the chat if you don't have that. I have received most of them, so I think that we're in pretty good shape there. And I think we're really enjoying the new format. If you have comments on the new format, if you had any issues with it, please feel free to let me know that as well. But I think that the new forms are going to provide some good insight for us moving forward. And so that first report was due, so if you didn't get that in, please do so. For the regional collaboratives, the funding, we are so sorry that it took so long for you all to receive your RFA funding this year. As many of you guys know, our cabinet recently had a merge with the Labor and Workforce Cabinet. And so, as some of us know, transitions can be tough, and oftentimes things can take a little bit longer than we anticipate or we expect. But everyone should have their funds at this point, and we don't anticipate this being an issue for future funding. But we really do appreciate your patience and your understanding and constant communication that we kept together to ensure that everyone did receive that funding. I hope that money's going out the door for you guys and you're doing great projects. From just reviewing a couple of the quarterly reports, it looks like you guys are off to a great start. So that's really exciting. We wanted to give an update on the family guides. We know that you all are waiting again very patiently and being understanding. We are working on getting them printed. It is happening. I talked to finance this morning, and I am being told it's moving forward. We should have more information soon about that. But in the meantime, you can always use the link, and we will drop that in the chat for you guys to print off the entire version or sections as needed, depending on your need for the family or the child care center or the business that you work in. So we will drop that in the chat. Please feel free to make as many copies as you need to, but we are working on getting those printed. Once we have a timeline of when those will be, we will send out a new request form asking each regional collaborative how many copies they need, where they will be going to, and remember they will be available in English and Spanish. So we will be getting them. We have not forgotten. And then, of course, our latest and busiest project as of late has been our work on the preschool development grant. And is Amy here? Okay, so I'm going to let the Executive Director, Amy Neal, provide some updates on the grant and give some additional information on what we've been doing in our office, as well as going over the original goals for the Kentucky Governor's Office of Early Childhood, because we know that some of you guys are new today with us, and we always like to do a little bit of refresher. So Amy, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Hey there. Good morning, everybody. I barely made it. I was having some tech issues, so phew, here I am. So thanks everybody for being here. It's a little chilly. I'm sure it's chilly everywhere. I want to just thank you all for being on board today. There's so many other things you could be doing. But just thinking about our original goals for the Governor's Office of Early Childhood, our Kentucky Regional Collaborative Network, they're really foundational to our office. So, we do our work through and with our partners. So we can't do it without you. So thank you so much. The original goals are, increasing collaboration between state and local communities, emphasizing quality and continuous improvement, and ensuring more children are ready for kindergarten. Our mission is around leadership and direction for the Commonwealth, providing a comprehensive system that's sustainable for birth to 5. And so, several years ago, we really recognized the strength and the purpose of the work that you all have been doing for over 20 years. And so we've really expanded our efforts to provide those solution-oriented discussions and highlight and grow excellence in the field, and to help build capacity and train our new leaders. And, our team has really worked hard in that space, and we thank you all for working with us to help grow those data-driven solutions. So I think, Megan, you wanted me to spend a minute how we've been working with our partners on that federal preschool development grant. And let me tell you all, I know that you all have all worked on federal grants, and they are exhausting. And that's all I can say about it. They're exhausting. But, we work with so many of you all across the state to help us make that happen. We worked with national partners and local partners. And then, of course, I see a lot of members from our advisory council who provided great leadership and expertise to help us make that happen. So I think just the overview that I will provide, just the basics. It was the preschool development grant. It was a renewal grant. It was released at the end of September, and Kentucky was eligible to apply for $12 million annually for 3 years. And it really required a couple things. The feds wanted you to really work to build out upon the work from the initial preschool development grant, and then the second preschool development grant, which, as you all will recall, Kentucky did not get. But Kentucky built a 5-year strategic plan, and that's the roadmap we've been using. And so the great news is that, we've been doing the work that we weren't even funded to do. And so I think that we feel really good that that's going to look good for Kentucky. And so that was, what we based our plan off of. And of course, what the federal grant required. But they really wanted you to build out and off of that 5-year strategic plan, and then double down on workforce and serve the most at-risk population with access and quality. So there were 6 grant activities that were required, and then there were bonus activities. So we submitted the grant. It was due on November the 7th, and we submitted it on November the 7th. And what time was it, Megan? It was like 3:30 p.m. or something. I mean, it was, we thank our contracted partners, Compass Evaluation. They were such an asset to that process for us. Thank you, Sarah and team. And we should find out about the grant the 2nd or 3rd week of December, and we feel great about it. So I think that's it, Megan. And if I continue to talk, I may just ramble, or maybe I did. I don't know. So those are the original goals of the office. I guess I didn't go in order. Dr. Gilbert, I see you smiling at me. Am I rambling? Alex, I see you smiling at me. Am I rambling? Christy Jones, I see you smiling at me. Am I rambling? Okay. Those are the original goals of the office. That's what we use to guide our work. And Megan, I'm tossing it to you.
Thanks, Amy. Like Amy said, I will just mirror the fact that we are really excited about the preschool development grant. It has some great opportunities for everyone, for all the children of Kentucky, of course. That's our main mission here, is to ensure that all children have a strong start. And that begins, as we know, even before birth. So we everything that we did had that in our minds and hearts when we were writing that program. And I can tell you for sure that everyone here on this team, as well as our partners, put their blood, sweat, and tears into it. And so we're really excited about the opportunities to come, and the opportunities to come for the regional collaboratives as well, if we are blessed with the opportunity to get the preschool development grant. So exciting things to come for that. And we will just jump right in. So as we mentioned, it's always nice to have a quick refresher or review for some of us who haven't been here in a while or might be new with us today. I see some new and exciting faces, which is always good to have. And I noticed a lot of people were dropping emails. This is a great way for peer-to-peer connections and collaboration efforts. So feel free to name drop in the chat. Let us know who you are and who you're with and that kind of thing as we go on. So as many of you guys will remember, in 2019, the Early Childhood Advisory Council voted to streamline and align what we used to call the Community Early Childhood Councils, and we aligned them to workforce investment boards after an evaluation process was finished and recommendation findings. And so we reduced the number of single councils to what we refer to now as regional collaboratives. And so regional collaboratives supports best practice and provide new opportunities to provide greater impact. And they were divided into 37 different collaborations. And we currently have 35 active ones. And so we're always working to add those other 2 in. And then there's 15 counties currently who are not part of an active collaboration. And of course, we want to change that as well. So if there's, I'm going to show you all a map in just a minute. If there is a county that's part of your collaboration that's not currently active, or if you live in a county and you're on here today and you're not a part of a collaboration, please get in touch with me. We will do everything we can to involve you in one that's closest to you, or to help you get one started if you don't have an active one in your community currently. And so the Regional Collaborative Network focuses around 4 main components or goals. And so we're going to just talk a little bit about those today. The first one is alignment. So we use alignment to reduce duplication and leverage what is around you. We are encouraging all of our regional collaboratives to find ways to blend and braid the resources within their own community. Because if we do this, this ensures that children are receiving the best start they can, while allowing our collaboratives to amplify their current strategies that they're using and implement new ones as needed. Another one of our main components is collaboration. And so our office works very closely with KY Stats on the early childhood profiles. And if you were at the latest Early Childhood Institute and were able to attend the session, you will learn that we recently updated the profile to include additional indicators. And this is always a great resource and tool for all birth to 5 education stakeholders, parents, families, and community leaders to utilize. And so we'll drop a link in the chat for you to see that. But we use that early childhood profile. I use it weekly, and a lot of the collaboratives use it as well to assess their needs of their community to make sure that all the children are being met. And another thing that they are tasked with is investment. And so this past year, we were able to increase the annual investment by 3, because we really want the regional collaboratives to be able to elevate and amplify what works. And we have identified these as what we refer to as Kentucky bright spots. So Kentucky is primed to transform and amplify its work in recognizing and serving young children and their families and caregivers. And across the state, Kentucky communities are implementing innovative and effective strategies and services. And here at the Kentucky Governor's Office of Early Childhood, we want to really elevate those practices that deserve attention and provide assistance with scale up to new communities across the state. And so some of these include the HANDS program, the Dolly Parton Animation Library, and efforts to increase enrollment in high quality education. and some additional examples that can be found in different parts of the state. In Eastern Kentucky, the Early Steps to School Success program has achieved success in assisting preschoolers to build vocabulary skills. In Louisville, a local program evaluation demonstrated that children who are developmentally screened are more likely to enter kindergarten ready. In Northern Kentucky, a higher proportion of children enrolled in schools with strong transition practices entered kindergarten ready compared to the average state value. And in Southeastern Kentucky, a higher proportion of children served in blended classrooms, which public preschool and private childcare entered kindergarten ready compared to the average state value. So we know that these bright spots work. We have data to prove it, and we really want the regional collaboratives to invest in those data-driven solutions. Another thing that we really focus on is change. We have been sitting at that 50% ready for kindergarten rate for a while now, and we really want to move that needle. We want to ensure that every child in Kentucky has a strong start from the beginning. And for us, that begins before birth. And so how can we scale up and amplify these types of successful programs and strategies? And so we asked the regional collaboratives to consider the 5 tasks when they were building their RFAs and strategies this past year. And that is to invest in best practices, address the most underserved communities, plan for sustainability and matching dollars, use collective impact to organize and focus community assets, and pivot investments from one-day activities that support long-term behavior change. We really want to provide the tools and resources and opportunities for the regional collaboratives to be able to make measurable progress towards community-wide and even statewide goals. And this webinar today is a great example and start to that. So we're really excited to start with that. And as I mentioned earlier, the map. So we just recently updated it. Here is the most up-to-date map that we have of the regional collaboratives. As you can see, the ones in white are the counties that currently do not have an active regional collaborative, but we are working to change that. And we are really excited about the 3 additional ones that we added this past time. And we add some additional counties as well. So we're always working towards adding more, because the more children that we touch and the more that children we get involved means the more children that have a better start for, for school life and ready for kindergarten. So if you see any questions, or you see a county, if you're not currently involved in a regional collaborative, please reach out to me and I will put you in touch with your local or closest one. And this is just a slide that I wanted to share with you guys today to kind of show you where we were and where we are now from that we shared with our Early Childhood Advisory Council at the last meeting. And this just proves that all the work you guys are doing with boots on the ground is working, and we really appreciate it. Without you all, none of this would be possible, and we are aware of that. So this is just kind of where we were and where we're going, and we're still trying to improve that too, and build that up even more. So, and part of that today is, look at us. We have 234 people here today. That's amazing. These used to have, 40 to 50 people, and today we're reaching over 200 people, which means that you guys hopefully will take something from this webinar, take it back to your jobs, and then In Touch will impact a child's life. So for us, that's a win-win. And with that, I think I'm going to hand it over to Ms. Sarah Heinemeier with Compass Evaluation and let her jump into some of the data quality and reporting and results from the self-assessment. Sarah?
Thank you, Megan. Good morning, everyone. Happy to be with you today. We wanted to bring back some high-level data from the needs assessment, the self-assessment that you completed back in August, and thank you for all your contributions to that. What we're reporting are kind of our top responses. So we're really kind of culling just the top ideas, and we're discussing ways to bring this back to you based on what you self-reported. So how we can better support you and provide training and technical assistance for you over the upcoming year. So with regard to areas where you reported you needed intensive support or capacity building in the specific domain of operations, The top 3 responses were in data and evaluation methodologies, in general public awareness, and in scale up and sustainability. So the good news is that we are excited to develop materials. We feel grounded in some strategies and tips here, and we are now sketching out opportunities to bring webinars and resources to you on these 3 topics. There were some additional topics listed. Again, they aren't shown here because they weren't the top 3, but we're not putting those in a drawer and forgetting about them. They're just not the first priority. These 3 topics will be the first priority as we move forward. We also asked in the self-assessment for the collaboratives to think about their counties and to think of the infrastructure needs in our counties, as these are areas where we can help advocate and draw together stakeholders from different offices. So while these are not things that the governor's office is directly involved in resourcing or doing, these are areas where we can really put some energy behind advocating and building awareness, especially as these infrastructure needs affect your abilities to meet the needs of your children and families. So again, the top 3 topics, these weren't the only topics, but these are the top 3 topics in which you reported 1 or more counties in your collaborative needed attention were transportation. And that's a consistent theme that we've heard for some time now. So this doesn't surprise us to see this pop up again. The sufficiency of services. So the idea that you have some of the services you need, they just aren't funded to scale. There might be waiting lists, or there might not be great accessibility. So the sufficiency of services to meet your local needs, and in some collaboratives, reliable internet services that, especially as folks have pivoted and are exploring the use of teleservices and how those services might be extended, that internet might be an infrastructure need. And we know that this is definitely a more critical need in some parts of the state than others. So again, there were other topics that were reported. These are just the top 3. In terms of training and technical assistance that we can provide through the governor's office, here are the top 3 modes of getting information out to you. So they are sharing of high quality resources. How can we kind of collect and curate and push back to you some resources that we believe or we've found in Kentucky to be highly effective? How can we help kind of wade through all of the information? The second are strategically focused webinars. So webinars that are kind of getting to the point very quickly and very efficiently, helping to build skills and build capacity within collaboratives. And then more generalized training and technical assistance. And we definitely saw the comments on these are kind of user preference, in the sense that these would not be required where there's mandatory attendance, but folks are able to dip in and dip out as the topic and resource serves their need. And we definitely understand that, and we want to do everything we can to meet your needs while not putting additional burden on the collaboratives. One of our key questions in the governor's office, and one of the things we're going to continue to be active on, is replicating what's working in Kentucky. So what's working well in local communities, and how do we document those practices? How do we use the data and further identify Kentucky's bright spots? So these were the ideas that you nominated through the self-assessment. These are some ideas that we're going to be actively trying to figure out how and where is it being done really, really effectively, and how can we help other collaboratives replicate what's working well, what's really being done effectively, efficiently, and with attention to equity. So the top ideas here were collaboration and engagement practices. A lot of you really celebrated the level of partnership you have in your collaboratives and in your communities, and the ability to mesh together and provide a collaborative and collective events, kind of this idea of having a mutually agreed on agenda and path forward, and that you had a lot of great synergy in your collectives. The second was a related idea, the idea of being coordinated across agencies to provide events and fairs for children and families, a way to really kind of work together to get much information out, a lot of different types of resources out for children and families. Again, we're really interested to know how and where that's being done exceptionally well so that we can help replicate those practices elsewhere. Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, we are so excited that this is expanding. It's a terrific program, and we just want to learn more, again, about where and how it's being done really, really well, how we're actually able to find and connect with families with young children so that children have the greatest amount of time in the program. Same thing with Ages and Stages developmental screenings. How do we what are the best practices for raising awareness about these and using all of our community resources to help families connect with an opportunity to have a screening and then receive support if they need it for follow-up. Related ideas for transition strategies and high quality professional development. So we are excited to continue to work with you over the coming year. These are our top bullets for what we want to learn more about and then kind of turn into those resources, training, and technical assistance opportunities so that things that need replication, things that you're interested in, and ways to improve practice, we can help you support that in your communities. So this is kind of a great segue into how we're going to approach replicating what is working well. And the strategy we'd like to propose to the group is, again, first, finding out. So learning more about what you're doing and how you're implementing. How does a strong and successful practice get implemented? What are the steps? Okay. We then want to work to develop a standard model, a standard logic model. And this model would capture key program elements. So this would put it together in kind of a visual form, very easy to digest, very quick to digest, something that really captures the key steps, the key investments, and then the key ideas about your outcomes and the things that are happening as a result of your investments. So we would be developing this model, using it to help guide and inform practice, but then also using it as a framework for evaluation and reporting. And so we're kind of starting from scratch with this idea, which makes it really, really exciting. Right now, this is the idea, and we're going to really rely on folks to help us develop this more fully into a practice that works for you. On the next slide, here are some of the key ideas that we're working with for that standard model. And these are just kind of tried and true pieces of a logic model. But these are the things that we'd like to hear about as we talk with you about the things that we want to replicate, about these best and strong practices. The first is the idea of inputs and what's being contributed to a project before we really spend a dime of the funder's money. So our inputs are everything, all of the energy, all of the resources that collaboratives are bringing to the table, and then the funder's money is kind of coming in and supplementing and adding to all of that energy. And target populations, who you're hoping to serve, and are these generalized populations, or are you targeting specific demographic groups or areas with your different services? Strategies and activities, these are your primary investments, how you're spending your funders, or if you have blended funding, different funders' investments. Outputs, direct results of the investments, kind of our numbers served, service numbers, our deliverables, our outcomes, measures of how we're responding to the needs in our community, how well we're doing that. And then some measures of those best practices. So quality assurance or fidelity, to what extent is that really possible and feasible? How well are we implementing practices in our community? Where do individual communities need to make changes to fit the needs and the context of their communities? And finally, confounding factors. What are the other things that we need to know about that affect your ability to implement services, but also your clients' ability, children and families, their ability to participate? Things like transportation, things like internet, things like having a high quality workforce available. These are things that we're going to continue to learn more about and want to be able to help support with our resources and training and technical assistance. So moving forward, we're going to kind of push some materials around these ideas, this idea of a standard model out to you, very open to your feedback. We want to make sure that we're using processes that work for you and really resonate with your communities and your collaboratives. So first step, developing implementation guidance. We really want to learn from you how these successful practices are working. What are the steps, right? How do you make sure that these bright spots are working well? Second, developing this idea of standard or unified measures, okay, and pushing that out. And then third, receiving back, using those models as a framework for receiving back reports, which now all kind of look the same and all have the same terminology, the same measures, and that's going to help us report back upstream on the value and return on all of our investments.
Thanks, Sarah. Before we go to our partner spotlight, are there any questions or discussion that you all want to have with Sarah, or anybody from our staff, I'm sure as well, can assist before we move on to that, because we have some extra time. And you guys can drop them in the chat or feel free to come off mute if you want to ask your question that way, if there are any.
This is Jason. I have questions. So it may be Sarah, or it could be the Megan or Amy or other GOEC staff could answer it. So with this logic model, I like it because then it's consistent and you're going to be able to, obviously, as you said, there's going to be sufficient data and you can create some kind of big picture and some statement for the higher up, and especially with funding, and hopefully it will move the needle forward in terms of kindergarten readiness too. Because we're unified. But the other question I have is how, because we are, so regional collaboratives are supposed to reflect the needs of the local area. Mm-hmm. And we have these best practices that we can then take into our own area and see if it fits, but sometimes it doesn't. So I guess my question is, those projects that do not fit, where you can't capture as many and make it standardized, is there any thought of looking at some elements that might cut across regardless of the nature of the projects that we can somehow pull together and have some data? So I don't know. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I think so. And I think, you know, some of what we've learned over time is, you know, typically our outputs oriented measures tend to be the easiest to standardize. So how many are served and how many services are being provided. Now, when we come to quality measures, that's where we start to see, well, some practices don't work in some communities, right? We've really got to be responsive to the needs and context of a community. So we have a lot of learning to do about how programs are being implemented and how implementation needs to be customized to the needs of a community. And I think Dolly Parton's Imagination Library is an example of this. You know, what are the best ways to find and enroll children and families? Well, that's going to look different, you know, wherever you are. So what works to implement in one part of the state or in one community is going to look different in another part of the community. And that's where we have a lot of learning to do. So best practices there is going to be, I think, vaguer messaging. It's going to be more generalized. And that's where we really need to fill in the gaps and connect the dots on, you know, communities aren't all created equal. So how do we make sure that a standard model is still flexible enough to meet the needs of communities? Same thing with outcomes. We can have standard ideas that we'd like to capture, but how we implement the data collection and what success actually looks like, wow, that's got to be flexible. So we're trying to thread the needle between having kind of a scaffold that allows us to roll data together and move it upstream, but also allow for autonomy and flexibility within communities. And again, we're going to move this forward. there'll be some bumps and challenges along the way. So this isn't going to be something that we get perfect the first time out, but I do think it'll grow and get stronger over time. Amy, I see, has her hand up, and then Juanita.
Yeah, to Dr. Gilbert, I would just say Sarah just did such an exceptional job responding to your question. And I am just reminded of the evaluation that the state did a couple years ago. And a lot of you all may recall, but it was the very first evaluation that was ever completed on community early childhood councils. And recall that community early childhood councils were launched with the Kids Now initiative over 20 years ago. And, you know, if anyone wants to see that evaluation, we have it. We'll be happy to share it. But it, you know, shared just, you know, great things about the work that has been done over 20 years. But it also said, if we want to make real lasting change, we need to make changes, and we need to pivot from one-day activities to long-term behavior change. And so, you know, that is why, you know, we really made the changes on our team that we did. And so again, Sarah couldn't have explained it any better. And so, you know, absolutely every community is very, very different. And so that's why we all operate differently. However, in the end, you know, we do need to have those sort of standard metrics so that we can determine what is working and what is not working for our investments. And the other sort of like thing that came to mind as Sarah was talking was recall that, you know, everything really is about ready children, ready communities, ready schools, and everything can really fall into that bucket. So that's all I'm going to say. But Juanita?
Yeah, and just to add, I think, and I'm going to say this based on all the people I see on here, using your child care aware folks and your traditional resource and referral training agencies. So many of us are involved with the collaboratives at this point, and I think reaching out to those folks would be really, really integral to that process, as many of those folks providing technical assistance and training know those areas very, very well as well. So I think bringing those folks, and that mirrors, again, I bring up this document because it's the best document I've ever seen in my life. The Race to the Top Validity Study, although it is several years old, it is still a great document to let us know what kinds of things are working, not just with quality, but with our collaboratives. With a lot of things came out of that, and a lot of what we're talking about now came out of that document as well. But, you know, including those folks, I think in a very deep way can also help bring about some of those sort of areas that we're not sure what's happening there. So let's dig in deeper.
Thanks, Juanita. I agree. We have so much expertise within the state. There's no need to remake the wheel. So let's rely on our in-state, you know, our experts. Okay. Ashley had a question around kind of the burden of capturing this information. And I think we are, and we do want to continue to be sensitive to that, you know, running through that laundry list of ideas, you know, finding time to answer questions and provide that communication back to us takes time, and it's work. So we're going to rely on folks to let us know when, you know, it's just not a good time. I've got too much on my plate, you know, try me again in 3 weeks, but we also want to be plan to be sensitive to that as we move forward. So I know that's not a terrific answer. It's not very concrete, but please be assured that we are paying attention to it, and we do want to be sensitive to the burden. Amy?
Yeah, just to build off of that, I would say, Ashley, that's such a great push. And that's why we listen to you all. And we really do work to listen to you all and hear you all. And I would just say, think about the request for application that we revised this year. And we did hear a lot from you all. Thank you all. And it is so much more user friendly. So don't be shy. Do speak up. Do tell us, do talk to us, because we really work to listen to you all, because we've all been in the field. And so Ashley Brandt, we see you too. Unrealistic timelines are often what cause. So tell us, because we really do work to listen to you all. So thanks.
And Colleen had asked too if there was a program sharing forum that we can see what everyone is working on. So we oftentimes use these webinars as a peer-to-peer network connection, or for webinars to share something that they're new and working on. But if there's something that you know is a need in your community or your environment, and you share that with us, and we know of a regional collaboratives that is a great example in the field of doing that work already, we'll be happy to connect you with them or a stakeholder, and we can always share the wheel, because of course, like I think Sarah mentioned earlier, we like to work smarter, not harder. And if it's already working somewhere, let's just recreate it in a way that fits your community needs. So if there's a program or strategy that you know you want to try in your community, I'm sure there's someone out there doing it. So let us know and we'll connect you. And I'll just kind of mirror too also what Sarah and Amy had mentioned earlier about the preschool development grant, is that all of this information that we've heard you all say, we did take and we took into account when we were building the preschool development grant, and we need to continue to hear it so that we can make sure our work is targeted towards your all's needs. So we really appreciate your all's feedback. Juanita, somebody asked for the Race to the Top document. If you have that handy, and could drop it, that would be great. And if not, we can find it and share it out.
Yeah, we shared it with Juanita. We can share it, Megan.
Okay.
Thanks.
And there'll be some time at the end to ask some more questions or have discussion. But for right now, I'm going to pass it over to our partner spotlight with Lakeshore Learning, Alex Page, and I'm going to let him share the screen to walk you all through some exciting things that they are sharing at Lakeshore Learning.
Yes, thank you so much, Megan. And can you all hear me okay? Everybody can? Okay, good. I'm at NACCE right now. I tried to find a quiet place in the back corner of the conference, and there's no quiet place anywhere near this entire conference center with thousands of people here. But no, I just wanted to say thank you all so much for the opportunity to get on here and share this resource that we have, put in place. And we truly listened when Amy several years ago said, we want a way to be able to track what is being purchased and how it's impacting the local community. Like, we listened to that call, and we've created a website, our e-procurement site, specifically for the regional collaboratives. Now, you all should have received, every chair and fiscal agent and any co-chair, and if you're sharing fiscal agent roles, anyone and everyone who's on the list that Megan shared with me should have recently received an email with a login information along with a link to reset your password. Just a heads up, that link does expire, so please do that, within a few days of receiving that email, so that way you don't have to do that process again. But once you're set up, you're ready to go. So I'll share my screen and just kind of show you the way that website works. All right, go here. All right, so once you are logged into the site, and I've already done that, you'll get on this landing page. It looks very similar to our lakeshorelearning.com. Only difference is you'll notice the eproservices.lakeshorelearning.com. And when you get on the website, you'll notice this pop up here with the banner. Welcome Kentucky Regional Collaboratives. My Turn's 5% discount on free shipping on all orders. Big big difference that's not going to be on our public website. So you'll know you're in the right spot when you see this. To make it a little bit easier, and we know that one size does not fit all, as it's already been mentioned several times on this call. You know, the county to county, even within the same regional collaboratives, the needs from county to county can differ from others. So, you know, just wanted to share a recent project that we've done recently with the South Central Kentucky Regional Collaborative. We're working very closely with Monica Edwards. I was just on a Teams call with her earlier this week. My coworker Megan Marston, which some of you may have collaborated with or worked with on some of these. She does help me manage some of the accounts here in Kentucky. But we've put the most popular kits that we've seen being ordered by the regional collaboratives all on this landing page. So if you were looking at the transition to school backpack, which is what Monica's regional collaborative was looking at, they wanted to add in a puzzle to this. So that was just something specifically that they had a need for, that they wanted to add to this already existing kit. So that now becomes a brand new kit that we're creating just for the South Central Kentucky Regional Collaborative, just by adding in a puzzle. So we can fully customize any and every one of these kits that you see on our website, on this specific landing page as well. One new kit, if you all have not seen, that I wanted just to highlight really quickly, because we intentionally created this not to teach to the screener, but it's based off of the Kentucky Brugance screener and what is, you know, assessed on that assessment. We created these items that were intentionally selected to hit multiple domains on, you know, each item on the inside of the kit would hit multiple items on the Brugance screener. So just wanted to point this out, make sure you all were aware of it and knew that it, you know, did exist. And then one other item that I wanted to share with you all. So if you are purchasing, all right, let me minimize this, maybe. Sorry, I'm not that great with Zoom. I don't know how to get to my cart. There we go. Okay, so one thing that we've recently created is an Excel template. All right, so it's just like this. So it basically is an empty template. So if you have teachers that are, or, you know, your staff, library members, whomever it might be that's in your collaborative, that is putting together a wish list to take some of the burden off of the procurement process, we've created this template that you all can use, and I'll share with Megan, who can get it out to, you know, everybody that's on this call and who would need it. But it basically, as they're creating their wish list, they would just put in their item number, which I've already populated a template test or a sample for this call. But basically, they just put in the item number and the quantity, tab down to the next, and then item number, quantity, item number, quantity. And if there was, like, say it was a chair or something that would have a color to it, you can specify the color, like typing in red or blue or green or whatever it might be.
Hey,
When you
Alex,
go, yes.
this is Monica. The template's not visible to folks. We're still seeing your card.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you for letting me know. See, I told you I'm not that great at Zoom. Hold on. Here we go. Thank you for that. Okay, is that better?
Yes, sir. I see it now. Thanks.
Okay, perfect. So this is the template. You put in the item number, tab over quantity, same thing, just go through it. This is where you would type out the color, you know, if it was red or blue or whatever it might be. You save it, and then let me share my screen appropriately here. All right, you go back to your ePro site, and then you would just select import from your cart. Browse files. Drop it in, upload, and now your cart that your coworker, your team member, your partner, and your regional collaborative created and sent to you is all uploaded right there on the site. You can check out from here if you use, you know, ProCard. If you use a PO number, you would be able to, you know, check out. You can also request a quote from this. If we go back here, if you needed to request a quote to generate a PO, you can hit request a quote, in your information. You can see I recently was working with Molly at Triggs Tots most recently. So, you know, whatever information you've most recently put in there will be saved. You can also save and add your address list, whatever your distribution list might look like. We can ship to multiple locations. We can put custom labeling on packaging as well, just to make it, you know, that much easier. One thing I did want to call out that Monica pointed out here that, you know, I wanted to make sure I addressed is if it is an item that is a sale item. If it is a sale item, you get your 5%. It doesn't, you can't duplicate, like say if the sale is a 20% item, you can't do 25% by adding, you know, the 5% that the regional collaborative gets. So any questions on this? No question. Okay, fantastic. So what I'll do is I'll put my contact information in the chat. If you have not received this email, or if you have questions on it, like I will absolutely set the time to meet with you individually, with your collaborative, you know, individually, one-off, whatever you need to be able to help you out the most with this site. And one thing that I wanted to share with you, because we have a book that some of you may have seen. Does anyone, let me back this up a little bit so I can put it in the sunlight. Does anyone remember this book, The Kids of Kentucky? So Race to the Top has already been brought up on this call. So this book is something we have not printed since Race to the Top, but it is something that is custom to Kentucky. It was a fun project. We also created a game board. I've already talked to one regional collaborative very recently and wanted just to share this with you guys on this platform that we can recreate this kit or this book as well as the game board if there is a big enough need. So right now I've already gotten one regional collaborative has already said that they wanted to get 500 of them. So for us to do a custom print and do a fun project like this, we have to do a minimum of 1,000. So if there were any other regional collaboratives that were looking to do something fun, something different, unique, specific to Kentucky, let me know, and I would love to talk with you. There is a 6-month lead time on a project like this. So this is something that we could schedule out, you know, for possibly the next, you know, spending cycle or whatever you all might want to do in the future, but it is a unique project for sure. So that was all I had. Any questions, any thoughts, any feedback? I see the question from Caitlin. I will see what the cost is or what the link is. I know that I have that, Caitlin. So I will find that and send that over to you. The cost, it depends on what the quantity being ordered is, determines what the cost is. So I will send a link, but you know, if I had to ballpark it, like per book, it'd be around $20 per book is what you could expect. The game board would be a little bit more than that typically, but it does, you know, provide custom, you know, specific landmarks like Natural Bridge, like Churchill Downs, the Louisville Slugger. Like there's all kinds of different landmarks, the Corvette Museum that we could put on there, like all different things from all parts of the state. And we can break it down specifically to like a city. If you wanted to do like a Kids of Lexington or Kids of Louisville or Kids of Bowling Green, like, you know, any of those is on the table. So we could definitely discuss those, you know, as you'd want to. Amy, I don't have the chat readily available to put into, or I don't have the link readily available to put into the chat right this moment, but I will share that with Megan. Yes, so Jay Rushing, sorry. The 5% discount, it doesn't add to the sale item price. So if the sale item price was 10% off, like you get either or. You don't get both. Like you don't add them, they don't stack on each other. Does that make sense?
Alex, what if the items are not on the ePro system?
So there are some instances where that happens. And if so, you can email me directly. If you have a question about a specific item that is not on the ePro site, because that does happen with, you know, if it's an in-store only item sometimes, or if there are items, sorry, there's something going on outside. There are items, there are instances where those items just are not on the site, whether it's, you know, limited availability or whatever the case. They get removed from the ePro site before they would you know, get removed from our public site. So that does happen occasionally.
Hey, Alex, can I add that when they fill out on the spreadsheet, the only thing that needs to go on that spreadsheet, based on what Jennifer told me, she's our fiscal, is just item number, whatever the color description is, and the quantity. We can't add anything else to the spreadsheet or it won't be. So if you're trying to do like a cheat sheet, you need to have two separate
You have to create a
copies.
second tab.
Yeah,
Or something. Yeah.
just makes things simpler that way. Easier for fiscal people to download or import everything.
Okay. Thank you for that, Monica.
And Alex, if you could drop your email into the chat for
Yep.
people to reach out to you regarding the kits or the books. One of the Lakeshore Learning is a great partner for us, and they always provide some great incentives and do some great things and for us at the Early Childhood Institutes. All those giveaways that you guys receive are part of Lakeshore Learning, and I know they were big help during some of the disasters that we've had this year around the state. They really did gear up and help our partners out in multiple ways, and we really appreciate everything they do. And I know that many of their products are great products, and we support them in any way we can. And we're going to continue to do partner spotlights on our webinars throughout the year. So we're really excited to share that information with you. And if you have any more questions for Alex, he's always available and gets back to you very quickly. So he dropped his number and email in the chat for you guys, so make sure you save that. Are there any more questions for Alex, Sarah, or anybody on our team that we can help answer before we move on to some upcoming events? Okay. I just wanted to share with you guys some upcoming events and announcements that we have for you all to share, put on your calendar. I'll email all this out to you, but just to kind of get it on your webinar or on your radar for future webinars. The Early Childhood Advisory Council will meet on December 15th, and it's an in-person meeting here in Frankfort at our office. There will be also a virtual option as well, but as you know, they're open to the public, and you guys are always welcome to attend virtually or in person. We'd love to have you. Our next Early Childhood Institute is scheduled for April 19th through the 20th, and that will be held in Lexington. The following one will be in November. We're looking at November 2nd and 3rd, but that is all to be determined, and that one will be back in Louisville. And then our future webinar dates are listed here. Our next one will be January 18th. And we will update you guys on the preschool development grant as we learn more. We'll keep you in the loop as always. And are there any questions regarding these before I close out? Registration for the Institute. Usually we open that up about 6 to 8 weeks out. Right now, we're still finalizing paperwork regarding all of that and with the hotel. So we haven't done, nothing is concrete enough to open it yet, but we do know those dates in the Lexington location. But that's all we can share at this point. But as soon as that is open, of course, that you all will receive the link and we'll share information out on our social media handles to keep you all updated on things as we learn more, as well as with the family guides as well. Information about the preschool development grant. You can find information on the website, on their website. We haven't put anything on our website yet. And I'm sure that there's some updated information if you just Google the preschool development grant for Kentucky. I'm sure you could probably find a copy of the grant if you wanted to look at that. If there's something in particular, Caitlin, you're looking for, shoot us an email and we can share out what we can. Juanita, we are trying to move it just regionally out of Louisville. So our goal is to have it in all 4 different regions throughout the state at some point in the next couple of years. So Brandy, food, can we use money on food for events? No, we cannot use food for events, regional collaborative funds. We cannot use that for food for events. Are there any more questions? Caitlin, is the grant going to be used to fund universal preschool? I saw Governor Andy's tweet about universal preschool being funded recently. Lynn or Amy, do you want to handle that question?
Yeah, I'll be happy to take a stab at that. There are 6 required elements that you must address in the grant. And so we did. There's also a bonus activity. And I don't have the information right in front of me, but I do see Dr. Thomas Williams on the call. And so Dr. Williams, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was required activity 6. And that is the space in which we are going to be working super close with the Kentucky Department of Education when we secure the federal grant. And that is to work towards high quality, full day, year-round care. And that is, as you all know, a national best practice. And it is a strategy that Kentucky has been engaged in since 2016. And Sarah or Dr. Thomas, if you want to push back on that, or correct me if I've gotten the priority area wrong.
You've got it.
Okay, great. I love a good quiz. My high school teachers would be so happy with me right now. I mean, and the other thing I would point to is it does show up on our Kentucky Bright Spots. And, you know, everything that we're doing in our office is around data-driven strategies and increasing access and quality, which again is, you know, a great cross-reference to the federal grant. So thanks for a great question.
It's like Christy had a question about asking the group who they've been able to get funding from outside of our office for the Dolly Parton Animation Library. If anybody on here wants to share ways that you've been able to receive funding outside of the regular RFA funding, please chime in. But many people reach out to local businesses, community organizations, local libraries. And anybody else can add in ways that
in Muhlenberg County, we've been able to be funded. However, I know in the past that the homecomings that I've attended, a lot of people require funding through their Chamber of Commerce is always really eager for that to happen. And the wonderful news is that Dolly Parton is actually paying 50% of this now. So you're only going to be paying 50% of that 35, I think it was $35. So only half of that, and they're actually working really hard to make that 100%. And I think we will actually see that in the future.
Thanks, Vicki, and thanks for everyone that's dropped some options or things that they're using in their local communities. Christy, please be sure to look at all these great suggestions. Vicki, I'll be in touch with you about setting up a meeting. We just received a grant from KET. Yeah, there's always sub grants that you guys can look at too. This can be counted as a match for your grant. Yes. Local libraries are always great. Local organizations. Leverage seed funding from Save the Children. Wonderful ideas. And another great example of the peer-to-peer connection and networking opportunity here. Heather said that Dollar General and even Walmart has grants that you can do. And Neil, that is great news. We are down to 7 counties that do not have it. So let's make that a goal to include those 7 counties as we can. The more books we can get in the hands of children and families, we know the better off we are. And Amy Olson is here with the Kentucky Department of Library and Archives. She's a great partner as well. And they are just recently have taken over some of the Dolly Parton Immersion Library. So she's a great asset. Amy, if you could drop your email in the chat for people to reach out, I think that would be helpful. And she suggested working with your local and public libraries. That's a great asset. And if you don't already have them as a member of your regional collaborative, we strongly suggest that you do, because they're a great resource to have on your team. As well as Metro United Ways. And someone mentioned the Frisk Gear Grant, and Frisk is for Family Resource Youth Service Centers. They're a great partner as well to have. If you're not familiar with your local Family Resource Youth Service Center in your area, please find them, because they're great to have on your collaborative and provide grants as well as lots of resources to find families and children in your area. Christy, there is a map that I don't know if there's a Dolly Parton Immersion Library map that shows counties. Neil might be able to help with those 7 counties that aren't currently enrolled. These are some great ideas. Are there any other questions related to some of the webinar topics? If there are, you can always reach out to me directly, and I can help answer them or put you in contact with someone who is able to answer them for you. Leanne Gabbard just dropped her email as well to help support some of the sites. Kristen, I will share a copy of the regional collaborative map. It's also on our website as well, if you want to jump on there and get it. But if you need it in a different kind of form, I'm happy to share that with you. If you guys are attending conferences or anything like that and want to share our regional collaborative information, we have a 1-pager that we're happy to share with you guys to take with you or share on PowerPoints or presentations you all do. Amy Olson with Library and Archives recently did that for us. So. Thanks, Dale. If there aren't any more questions, we're going to give you guys back 15 minutes of your day today. Really, again, we appreciate you all taking the time out of your schedules. We know that you all are busy every day of the year, especially right now around the holidays. And it's been great to have all you all with us today. Please keep in mind that our next webinar will be January 18th, but I'll be in touch with you guys regarding some upcoming updates about the preschool development grant as we learn more, as well as just other things happening in our office. And please always feel free to reach out to me if you need anything or if we can help in any way. That's what we're here for. So really appreciate it. I hope everyone has wonderful holidays, and we'll see you after the first of the year, if not before. And thank you guys so much. This webinar is recorded, and one of our lovely staff, Amanda Atkins, has already put it on YouTube. I believe it's live streaming now, so it should be directly on YouTube for you all to share out with partners that may have missed it, or if you want to review it or share it out on your social medias. We love it. So it's available on our YouTube channel, or I can email it out to you guys if you want to share it with partners as well. Amy Neal just said, thanks for all you all do each day to ensure children have high quality experiences before they enter kindergarten. We appreciate you. And of course, everyone here on our staff and team will mirror her comments. We appreciate everything you guys do, and our work wouldn't be possible without you all. So thanks so much, everyone. Please reach out if you need